morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. My name is Joshua Bell, and I'm the curator of globalization in the anthropology department here in natural history, and also one of the leads of the Recovering Voices initiative here today, or here in the museum. So today I'm going to be talking about aspects of my ongoing research in the Purari Delta of Papua New Guinea, where I've conducted field research since 2000, and focus on the ways in which knowledge about the environment is materialized in various forms and the various sets of transformations that is affecting those objects and knowledge systems. Now, in the context of the increasing pressures of resource extraction in Papua New Guinea, and I think more globally, understanding people's relationship to their environment and how this knowledge is articulated is of great concern and interest. Now, a keke, as the baskets that are their baskets are locally known, an image of which I'm showing you here, is particularly important in this regard, and I'm going to come back to these at the end of the talk. But one of my reasons for showing this image in the first case is it raises two things. The first is it provides a nice visual analogy of the different types of data sets that I use as an anthropologist doing my research. I use oral histories, household surveys while living and participating in communities' daily lives, and materials and objects found in archives and museum collections. Secondly, the image also raises for me, it's a useful reminder of the collaborative nature of this process, that it really is not, it's only due rather to the generosity of various people in Papua New Guinea and here and around the world that I'm able to do the work that I do. Now, Papua New Guinea is a remarkable place to examine cultural transformation. It is one of the most culturally and biologically diverse places in the world. Some 850 languages are spoken by a population of about more than 6 million. It's almost at 7 million. In a country and I don't have the pointer, that's slightly larger than California. It's on the eastern half of the island here. And this kind of cultural diversity is matched by extreme biological diversity. It has an incredible array of endemic species, and in the Pacific, the largest extant rainforest. Now, using photographs and materials that were really generated through the last 100 years of the colonial encounter in the country, I've been focused on using these materials to elicit oral histories from elders who were the last generation of men to have been initiated in now abandoned ritual system. What this work has helped us to do is to tease out how now and absent ritual forms materialize various ancestral spirit beings that live in the landscape. And what it has done is revealed how history is both a temporal, spatial, and material phenomena. So really, in essence, the environment is not outside of people, but actually part of people, and they are part of it. Now, since 1999, this kind of cultural heritage, if you will, has come increasingly under threat by logging, which has kind of erased a lot of these cultural sites, and also cut down trees, which were the home of spirit beings. It's also, through the oil and gas up at the top of the slide, has also impacted kind of the general environmental stress and kind of caused new problems. The other thing here that's going on is that it's transforming relationships to the environment, which were mostly predicated on kinship, to ones around money. Now, responding to these pressures, since 2010, I've been working to make these sites visible, that is, ancestral sites of importance, through GPS work. So you're looking at about a 300-mile stretch of the Purari River and about 500 points, which are particular land areas and sites of ancestral importance, which kind of make these histories visible. And this is something that the community desires, and in effect to kind of map these histories, which are otherwise really dormant and in people's heads. Part of what we've also been doing is to work to do an inventory of ethnobotanical knowledge of the region. So alongside this work, we've also been documenting and translating songs, which are the principal way in which men poetically articulate these histories that we would normally find in these now absent ritual forms. Most exciting for me has kind of come to the fore the work of women, principally in the baskets that I mentioned at the beginning of the talk. And these are baskets made from the sago palm, which is a principal plant used for food in the region. And these baskets used for personal adornment as well as food production encapsulate in their iconography these sets of relationships that men sing about and used to perform in their ritual arts. And so what we've done, working with Illustrator intern here, we begun to systematize these iconographic forms, which has been very important to kind of tease out these relationships, and then use this iconographic code, if you will, to go back to collections from the last 100 years and begin to find and decode what is in this collection of material that's otherwise been ignored. Then finally, through the Recovering Voices initiative, we've been working then to create materials to go back to communities to help sustain these knowledge systems. So we've created posters. This is Henry Kea, who's one of my collaborators, who's been coming to the museum for the last 2 years. We've created posters which makes this ethnobotanical knowledge visible for community schools, as well as an array of books, of photographs, historic photographs that I've shown you, to go back to kind of also generate more discussions about cultural heritage. And in doing this, I think what we've been trying to do is to work to kind of understand how people understand their environment and how they articulate it, and then help to create tools by which this knowledge can be sustained into the future. Thank you very much.
You mentioned 850 languages spoken.
Yes.
Papua.
Mm.
How many religions are? Has that ever been calculated? Is it associated with language?
Yes and no. I mean, so there are, sorry, the question was if the 850 languages relates in ways to local religions. And that's a complicated one, because language, there is a relationship between language and culture, but there's not a one-to-one relationship. So in areas such as the highlands, where you have tremendously large populations, Papua New Guinea is really defined by transaction and trade, so communities often actually bought and sold rituals to one another. So you find that maybe what you might think of local religions in a completely different language area. So people were multilingual, people transacted. So there has been work to kind of correlate this, but it's actually complicated by the realities of people's constant interaction and change. So yeah, thank you.